What's up, everyone? Nan Man here, and we're back with another episode of Nan Man's Nerd Corner. Now, this is a solo episode. I hope you guys enjoyed our last episode with our new co-host. Jaime will be back and joining us for future episodes, don't worry. But I'm trying to sprinkle in as well as these little, solo adventures that we've got, especially the kind of solo podcast and stuff that just kind of talk about updates, things that are going on, ramblings, all that fun related stuff. Now we are in the summer season, which is the big content season for me when it comes to the content producing and all that kind of fun stuff. Hence the re-kick off the podcast with a co-host. It has been many years since we've had a co-host on any of the podcasts I've been doing, so it's great to be able to have Jaime join us again. And I thought the discussions we had were really good. We're going to be doing a couple of episodes coming up, so here's what you guys can look forward to with upcoming episodes. We've got, of course, Diablo 4 is in full swing, and Jaime and I have been playing a lot of it, so we have a lot to talk about with the game. We wanted to give it some time to settle, get us time to get through it, play a couple different characters with it, beat the main story, really kind of get in and get a feel for it before we break down and talk about the things we like about it, things we don't like about it, all that kind of fun stuff. So you can expect a Diablo podcast coming up. Jaime and I have since seen the new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which was phenomenal. Spoiler alert, it's phenomenal. If you have not been keeping an eye on the internets, it was amazing. And we'll be talking a little bit about Spider-Verse. We'll be talking a little bit about Marvel in general, the shows, the movies, all kinds of stuff when it comes to Marvel. Even some comic book shenanigans sprinkled in there as well. So you guys can look forward to that sort of fun adventures coming up. We're going to do a Marvel episode. We are going to be getting together and playing Magic with our normal play group and pretty much everybody that has been a part of our play group this year. Now, for those that have been following on Twitter, which you can keep an eye out, it's at The Real Nan Man. Now, all of the stats I've been tracking with our play group every month, really it's been every other month this year. We've been documenting, writing down which decks have won, which players has the most wins, going into things and being able to track and see the stats on the decks at the end of the year. So it's been really fun to kind of keep track of things. So we have a big group getting together this time. Normally we play with about 5 people, rotating with our 5th. This time we're able to get all 6 of our normal guys joining us, which is great because it's not often that we get to see it. So I don't know how it's going to work. Are we going to have a bunch of 6-player games and it's just going to be really long and pure chaos? Are we going to break them up into 2 pods of 3? I have no idea what's going to happen with it. So I'm really excited to just get together and play games. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of TCGs, I have been, of course, curated these quote-unquote cubes. I like to say cubes, but they're little, fat pack-sized bundles of old-school decks, not just Magic decks. Now, I do have those, and I've been thinking about going through and pulling from specific standards or things like that. It's like, oh, here's decks of the past that you could be able to play that I, related to and enjoyed playing, and other people might. So I've got something similar with Yu-Gi-Oh! And I've maybe talked about this in the past. There's been videos at least up about it, but so I have some of those like highlight decks that I've enjoyed playing over the years, as well as other players have enjoyed playing. So like I was, of course, competed in regional tournaments back in the day with Yu-Gi-Oh! Before I kind of really dove deep into the Magic world. So with Yu-Gi-Oh!, of course, I have my classic Exodia deck. I've got Burn deck, which is all about Mask and Lava Golems and Nightmare Wheels and, all these fun burn effects. We have the Magician Morph deck back when Metamorphosis was still legal and you could get Thousand Eyes Restrict and just lock people out of the game. That was so much fun. I loved playing that deck. We have our course, Control deck, which was the one that won World Championship. It had basically the best cards in existence before all of them were banned or restricted one way or another, and you had the Yada lock in there, which you would lock your opponent out of the game, preventing them from being able to draw any more cards, which you fill your deck with cards that strip cards out of their hand, delinquent, duo, confiscation, so on and so forth. You get to just strip away their cards and then lock them out of the game. So that's a really powerful and fun, and was the top dog up until Chaos came out, which is another one of the decks that I have for this kind of cube adventure. Chaos Emperor Dragon, one of the most powerful cards ever printed back in the day. Of course, nowadays it doesn't really hold a candle to some of the craziness that people are doing, but that's all right. this is basically a 2006 and earlier. A lot of the kind of banned decks, the who's of banned deck. We have a Cyber Stein Cyber Dragon OTK deck in there as well. That is just nuts. If you can just get the pieces it needs, it just can win. And the reason why all these decks have been banned is because they're so powerful. Now, of course, a lot of the decks that I was talking about earlier weren't banned, right? Burn deck's not banned. Exodia's not banned. Like these decks. So some of the pieces in there, of course, because I do have things like Pot of Greed, right? Those fun things for Geiki, Harpy's Feather Duster, the old staples that we were so obsessed with back in the day are, of course, in there. So that's a lot of fun. I'm looking into maybe doing some gameplay footage for it. We'll see if that ends up happening this summer. I, have these ideas that I want to be able to do and set stuff up with it. Just haven't really had the time to sit down and bug Jaime or bug someone to be like, hey, commit 4 hours of your day to just play these games, and we're going to record them all, and let's see what happens. But one of these days, I'm going to plan to do that. So keep your eyes peeled for potential content, and if that's something you want, let me know, and we'll look into it. The other thing in TCG-related news that we've been working on is the old school Pokemon. Now, I do have some of my cards from back in the day, not all of them, sadly. We got rid of some of them. But in college, I did, of course, pick up some of those like special theme decks and started to kind of just get cards and say, I want to play Pokemon or collect some again. It's fun. These boxes are like $20-$30. Now they're like $400 for those boxes, so it's crazy. But I have been putting together decks in the base to fossil block constructed section of old school Pokemon. Now these are classic decks that are super powerful, so that means that interesting enough, some of the best creatures, some of the 3 best hitters out there, Electabuzz, Hitmonchan, Scyther, which you think, wow, that's crazy, but it's being a base creature, high HP, hits pretty hard, that they're really, really good. There is, of course, lots of decks that exist. There are, the Rain Dance deck when you're using Articuno and Blastoise and stuff. I don't have all the cards for that. I have a Articuno. I have a Blastoise still, but they are currently sealed up and safe because, those are actually still worth a little bit of money, where a lot of the decks that I have are like, oh, I can pick up a heavy played Hitmonchan for like $3, $4, $5. Sweet. I'll pick up a couple of those. I could pick up a couple Scythers for the same amount of price. Easy peasy, all right? And I could be able to make some fun decks with it. I do have some cards that I'm going to be adjusting and tweaking and making kind of based off of the cards that I have first. A lot of the trainer cards that are super powerful that make the format so crazy because you can play as many trainer cards as you want in a turn. Things like Bill, which is, of course, Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards. Of things that are a Wheel of Fortune effect, but a solo Wheel of Fortune effect, which is Professor Oak, where you discard your hand and draw 7 cards. So if you dump your hand full of stuff and play all of your things, you go, all right, cool, I'll dump my hand and draw 7 cards and just keep going. So it's crazy how fast-paced and fun it's been building the decks. I'm trying to get about 5, maybe 6 decks built for it. Kind of a mix of things. Right now I have one deck that is, interesting. I don't know which direction I want to go with it yet. I have a kind of a Sleepy Time deck, which is just Jigglypuff, Wigglytuff, Ghastly, Haunter. It's all about putting creatures to sleep, using that Dream Eater on them, kind of busting them up a little bit. Psychic, of course, is powerful because Hitmonchan's such a great card. Having access to the Psychic is really, really nice. This is also in that field of when Mewtwo and Mew were released, so it's very interesting. I'm playing in this like Jungle, Fossil base set are the kind of main stuff. I'm not pushing into the Rocket side of things at this moment in time, which there's some really cool Team Rocket cards. I know a lot of people that are really interested in it. At some point, I probably will make one and push it that far, but for now, I'm really pushing on the earlier stuff and kind of going along those lines and making decks around there. So it's going to be similar to the Yu-Gi-Oh idea of the plan is to be able to, get these kind of in a Pokemon quote-unquote cube where you just have a set of cards, a set of decks, and you just kind of rotate through. All right, let's play this matchup versus this matchup and see what happens. So that's going to be some of the TCG-related content that I've got coming up for you in the near future. So keep an eye out for stuff like that. With, of course, Magic-related content, we are going to be doing some fun little history dives. I had fun the other day. If you guys have seen, I do have a couple posts I've been putting up on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts related to kind of the 5 or 6, just cards that you used to be staples in Modern that only boomers will remember, right? And it got me thinking about, oh man, seeing these cards like Snapcaster Mage, Anafenza the Foremost, all right, Malira, Sylvank Outcast, these cards, and I'm like, wow, it's crazy that they don't really exist anymore in Modern because of how the power creep has gone and how much things have gone. But I miss those decks and might be fun to do a little history or a little bit more of a deep dive on some of those decks and why those cards used to be good. So that might be something we do this summer with Magic-related stuff. But yeah, I am putting up more TikToks and Instagram and YouTube Shorts. All that stuff is, of course, over at Nan Man's Nerd Corner. You guys can be able to find all that fun stuff. Just trying to keep that stuff consistent related to all of the nerdy fun stuff. In more related nerdy news, we've got some Warhammer updates. We got to play with 2 of my buddies. Went a lot of fun. We kind of did the capture the point type aspect. I know that there were rules and stuff that I had a hard time remembering and stuff that I could have done better. Definitely some of the combat stuff we got to work on for next time, but I thought it was a good first introduction for them. They both seem to really enjoy being able to play, and something that will probably make a regular thing when they're in town. Just say, hey, you know what, we got a couple hours to kill. Normally we'll play some board games, we'll play Super Smash Brothers. Let's just add Warhammer into that rotation as well of fun things. Plus, there's been a lot of really cool spoilers going along with new sets and new stuff for 10th edition for Warhammer 40k. And the fantasy stuff, I keep seeing all these sweet new Lizardmen, and I got boxes of Lizardmen sitting waiting to be built and painted. I go, but look at how cool those raptors look. Look at how cool those Lizardmen look. Man, maybe I'm gonna get suckered back into fantasy again. So we're gonna see what happens with the Warhammer department. But it was fun being able to play again, and gonna have to work on adapting and adjusting and changing up some of the armies a little bit for next time. But it's gonna be it was fun being able to play last time. We even did a 3-person game that was a little bit crazy, trying to get points again, capture the point. If you land on your opponent's point that's inside their base, of course you set a bomb off and they die, kind of thing. So it was a little fun adventure of trying to navigate and work together to try to, we gotta get the center point, but also try to protect our flank. And oh my gosh, someone has got into our flank. How are we gonna survive? And yeah, a lot of fun with that stuff. So lots of cool things that are in the works for content. We've got some more vlog-related content that's coming up soon. So going to be trying to sneak in and do some LGS travel-related content where, if I'm traveling, I stop by an LGS, do a little bit of filming, check it out, see what it's like, have fun that way. So going to be going to New York City for a day this summer, and I got a couple hours to kill, so probably going to go look for some LGSs out that way and just do a little bit of filming that way. Going to be going to my first live wrestling event this summer, so that's going to be interesting to see. I've got two of my friends, Tam and Jason, are huge wrestling fans. They watch a bunch of the pay-per-view stuff. They be able to go to live events when they can, when it's in the area, and there's one coming up to Washington, D.C., so we're going to be going. This will be our first one. It's AEW. So I know a couple of the people in AEW on their roster. I've watched a couple of matches, a couple of the pay-per-views, so I have enough of a understanding of some of the factions within AEW to at least follow the storylines of what's going on. It's also just great to be able to watch, just the skills of these athletes in, all their stuff. I'm a big fan of the high-flying style, jumping off the top ropes, doing all the crazy, feats that they're able to do. So it's always cool to be able to see that stuff. And so this will be the first time seeing it live. Plus, they're huge wrestling nerds. So being able to, feed off of their energy and their nerdy knowledge is something that I'm very excited to be able to experience from their point of view and feed off it. I used to watch some wrestling back in the day, like high school era of WWE, back when Eddie Guerrero was around, John Cena was just really getting established. That was my era. Big fan of people like Van Dam and Mysterio, and the high flying style back in the day. I've seen a few WWE stuff since then, like the Royal Rumble, and these little things like that, or see clips every now and again. But I'm not really following it or in the wrestling scene, so it's going to be very cool to be with other people to show off their nerdy side and really nerd out with them. So I'm excited about that. It's many, many months away, but in other travel news, did just book our tickets for DreamHack Atlanta. DreamHack is going to be in the United States. Their tickets are, of course, on sale. So if you guys are going to be planning to go to the event, go. There's not very many bring your own computer tickets left. They might even be sold out by the time this episode is up. Who knows? But I'm going just as a spectator, 3-day pass, going to be able to enjoy, because StarCraft is going to be at the event, which I'm pumped to see some live action StarCraft. It has been a few years. Last time was before the pandemic, of course, is when we saw live StarCraft. And that was, of course, smaller local lands, Cheesadelphias, things like that. Some of the events that I went and casted, some of the events I went just as a spectator, but that was the last kind of live action stuff. This is, of course, major event, like end of the year, the last major tournament of 2023. What year are we in? Last major StarCraft tournament of 2023 is going to be taking place in December in Atlanta. So I'm very excited to be able to go attend the event and see, of course, some of those top pros in action. In other RTS-related news, Stormgate is coming out soon. We're starting to see some spoilers. Loco's posting stuff up. Tasteless is posting up stuff. Little images, little videos, little screenshots of course, the excitement of Stormgate. Because July, we're going to start seeing some early alpha-related content for that. So I'm very excited. You're going to be, of course, seeing some more stuff. My work with ES Champ and those guys doing some StarCraft related content is still happening. It's still working. We're doing podcasts over there. We're doing, of course, videos over there, so you guys can be able to check it out on YouTube. And we're going to be talking about Stormgate. Don't you worry. There's going to be videos and discussions and information related to Stormgate coming out on ES Champ. So keep your eyes peeled for all of that fun stuff. We are going to be doing more stuff with ES Champ. So I hope you guys are subscribing and following over there as well. But that's kind of our update, our content update of stuff to look forward to. More vlog content coming up. We're going to be doing more nerd content coming up. So just, keep your eyes peeled, keep your ears peeled, all that good stuff. And stay tuned for our next episode when Jaime joins us back for another co-hosted adventure for one of those 3 topics that we were talking about. I don't know, Magic, Diablo, Marvel, who knows? Who knows what's next? But thanks so much for tuning in and listening, guys, and we'll see you guys next game.